Let's start the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Happy Hour Show. I am your host, Lindsey Vertner, and I'm so excited that you have decided to grab your drink and join the chat on tonight. So we are going to have another amazing guest. She is amazing. Her story is amazing. And I know y'all are amazing. So we're just going to have a big old amazing happy hour party. Okay. If you don't know who I am, and this is your first time ever tuning in, my name is Lindsey Vertner. I'm an award-winning peak potential strategist. And what I do, what's really my jam, is helping high-achieving women who struggle with things like perfectionism, overthinking, doubt, all of those limiting beliefs. And I help them to master their mindset and truly create their first-class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. I help them with things like their clarity, their connections, their confidence, and ultimately their cash flow. So that's what I do. That's who I am. And that is my jam. But tonight we are here on the Happy Hour Show. So if you are tuning in, then there are a few things that you got to do, because this is a conversation, not just between me and our lovely guests, but also between you who is watching at home or listening, depending on where you're tuning in from. But I need you to engage with us, interact with us, post your questions and your comments. So if you're watching right now, put in the comments where you're tuning in from, and make sure you comment, love, share this video out, because if you've tuned in before, then you know there are a lot of gems that are dropped on the Happy Hour Show, okay? Helping you get all your life together. If you are tuned in right now, then comment all the way live. And if you're catching the replay later on, tomorrow, tonight, next week, whenever, then comment replay all day, because we love you just the same. So I see your comments already coming in. We have people watching from all over the world on all the different platforms. And without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce tonight's guest for the Happy Hour Show, so y'all can see how amazing she is. Tonight's guest is named Amber Edwards, and she is Bay Goals, okay? Amber's ultimate goal is to help women and men with all different body types in different areas of life obtain the best version of personal mental health and spiritual well-being. Amber's personal battles with suicide, binge eating, and pill addiction is what led her to create Bay, Body and Everything, LLC. Not only does she encourage body positive, healthy bodies, but she's also very transparent, and she shows the good, the bad, and the ugly of her own personal journey. And for this very reason, Amber's audience does not feel pressured or alone as they are on their own voyage towards achieving better health habits. And so without further ado, let's welcome tonight's Happy Hour guest, Amber Bagels. Hey.
Hey, how are you doing? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am so excited to be here.
Yes, and we are excited to have you. Now, I just gave like a little snippet of your resume and what you do and all of that good stuff, which we're going to get into that later on in the show. But right now, I want you to tell the folks, like, who is Amber really? Like, give us the good tea, peel back the curtains, and tell us, like, who is Amber? Where'd you come from?
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, and I ended up in Austin, Texas, about 11 years ago, and I've been on a voyage to self-discovery ever since. I am a mommy, I am a wife, and prayer warrior, and I just love people. I just have such a heart for people and just such a heart for just growing and flourishing, helping people everywhere just, grow and excel and become their best selves. And so that's who I am. And it's on here. Like I'm not giving it to the world knows. Like, no, we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna win. We're gonna win these mental health and this weight loss. We're gonna win it all. We're gonna win all of that.
Yes, yes. Now, I did not know that you were a Midwest girl in Missouri, because I'm a Midwest girl, born and raised. And so on the playground is where I spend most of my days. But I did not know that you were from Missouri and then you moved to Austin. So what made you make that switch from the Midwest all the way over to Texas?
Well, I was young. I was 21 years old, and I actually went through a breakup with my fiance at the time. And I just came here on a one-way ticket, I'll be honest. I went home. My parents came and rescued me, and I went home for I think I was home for a good 2 weeks, and I was like, all right, I got to go. And I just got a one-way ticket, and my aunt and uncle, they greeted me with open arms. But after like the second month, they were like, okay, are you going home? Like, what's going on? And I just never looked back. I just made Texas my home, my space to start over. So
listen, that is something right there, because at 21, you took the leap to start over. You didn't have a plan. You just did it. And I know that is one thing that can hold a lot of people back, just that fear of the unknown.
yes.
So they stay complacent in where they currently are, whether it's a relationship, whether it is their career or just their dreams and goals, and they're too scared to take that leap forward. So tell us about that moment. What was that moment like for you when you were just like, I can't. I'm gonna get over my fear of the unknown and I'm gonna jump?
Well, I was always the kid, the youngest. It's a lot of us. So, and I'm the youngest, and I've always been the kid that was like, when I grow up, I'm gonna move far away, and I'm gonna live my best life. It probably wouldn't live my best life back then, but I am gonna grow up, and I'm gonna move, and I'm gonna travel the world, and I'm gonna be. I actually used to say I was gonna be the next Oprah. I just knew I was gonna be the next Oprah, but honestly, my 21-year-old self, I was very fearless. I didn't really have a lot of fears. I didn't have a lot of responsibilities. So it was an opportunity. And I mean, at the time I had dropped out of college. Like, I was just really trying to find myself. And, it's so crazy to even think like that fear was more so because I was just so young. Like, oh man, my aunt, when I got here, she wanted me to get a real job. She was like, I need you to get a job. Like, or go back to school. Like, it's gonna be one or the other. And I was like, I don't want to go back to school because school was hard. Like, in my mind, I'm like, school is hard. I'm not going back to school. And I got a real job. And that was the scary part. Like, because in Texas, baby, you gotta have a car. Like, I wasn't used to that. Like, I was used to the train, get on the Metro link, go where I need to go, come on home. My uncle said, baby girl, if you're gonna stay here, you need a car. And I was like, that was the fear for me. It was like, oh, real bills? Oh, okay. Oh no, so that was more so the fear at first. But initially taking the leap, I'm young, I'm like, oh, I can do this. This is gonna be great. So yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Well. Listen, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and our lovely guest, the Amber Edwards. She is Bay Goals, okay? Helping you with your weight loss, body positive, healthy habits for all body types, which is so important, especially in today's society. If you are new to the show, again, make sure you comment, love, share this video out. Post your comments, your questions down in the comments below. And if you want to make sure that you are updated on all things Happy Hour, then make sure you sign up for the VIP list at bit.ly/happy updates. So back to our discussion. Now, I noticed you slid a little nugget in there. You said your ex-fiance. You thought you was going to drop that and keep going, didn't you? We catch everything on the Happy Hour Show. So tell us about that situation. What happened there? Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was 21. I met a young man when I was in college, and I just knew, I'm a pastor's kid. So I'm like, oh, he was in the church, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. He's a pastor's kid. We're going to get married. We're going to live happily ever after. And then life hit. Like, I moved to, be closer to him because it was long distance initially. I ended up moving about 4 hours away from home, and I was miserable. I experienced isolation for the first time. Because I've always been around people. I've always had connections with all of my people, but during that season of my life, I just kind of had to learn how to lean on Jesus, like for real. You know how to say, like old people would say back in the day, oh, I'm just leaning on the Lord. I'm leaning on the Lord. I was like, Jesus, I need you to make a way to get me out of here because I was miserable and I was depressed. So much weight. I mean, my highest weight was 320. And if you know me, I'm only 4'11" and a half. And so it was rough. It was rough. And I remember just crying one day, and I called my parents. And I was like, he pushed me. He put his hands on me. That's all it took. And I mean, my cousin Jerry, like they pulled up the next, like 2 days later. I think it was like the 4th of July week. All I saw was a U-Haul truck, and they were like, get in the car. I was like, okay. So I was on my way back to St. Louis. But like I said, when I got to St. Louis, I had to go. I was like, But I mean, I was all over the place. I was not ready to be anybody. I was just too selfish. Like I was so selfish, just young, just living life, trying to find myself. And I think the amazing part of it is that I can look back on it now as I'm talking about it to myself. Wow, like you're grown up, like you're grown, like you're for real grown.
I love that. And I think it's important to kind of dissect just a little bit more before we move on is that you didn't start in that place. Like it was something gradual that happened. And eventually you had to, on your own, get to a space where you were like, hey, y'all, it ain't about the right over here and I need help getting out. Because unfortunately, there are a lot of people that stay in toxic situations for different reasons. Maybe they are fearful that they won't get anything else, or, there's a lot of mental and emotional abuse that comes in those type of situations. And without you going into all the details, I don't know what that looks like, but I know that there are people out there where like they're scared for their lives, or they don't have the courage to make that phone call, or they do have the courage, but they don't have the support system to come pick them up once they make the phone call. So what was your moment like? When did you realize, apart from the depression and the isolation, that you were just at your peak where you were like, all right, I'm not going to do this another day? Like, what was that trigger in your mind that said, today I'm going to call, whenever you could have called months ago or years ago or however long?
Well, it was, I think it was like the 4th of July. It was I had endured maybe Thanksgiving, Christmas, even like Valentine's, New Year's. And I did not see my family. I did not talk to my family. And, depression, it's a real, like, it can really torment, and, living with that anxiety, and just every day, just waking up, like, slept alone. I got an apartment, and they gave me all this furniture and stuff like that. The goal was, we're just getting ready for the house. We're getting ready. His mom was being involved. I was just feeling like I was not in control of my own life at that point. Mm-hmm. And I just knew come July, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get it. I don't know how I haven't talked to anybody in almost a year. And I remember the day he came from, I think he was working like a part-time job. And he was like, because I wasn't answering calls. And just like, I think at that moment, he was a bigger guy too. So in that moment, I was like, I can't fight you. Too big to fight. I don't have no defense because your family always like, they're gonna side with him. And remember, I remember like I was sitting in the floor and I was at, I think like his friend's house or something around the corner from where he worked. Door, and I ended up calling my mom, and I called my dad, I think it was, and I told my dad what was happening, and I was like, because I was just banging, 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 and I just remember that was the day that I just said, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. Like I can't take it. I gotta go, and that I took a leap. No, I'm gonna come home because there truly is no place like home. Like there's truly no place like the love of your parents. And even though when I went home, everything was still chaotic, I knew that that was safe. You know, that was safe for me to be home or 4 hours away. Can't nobody get to me if something. So I believe that July the 2nd of 2005 or 2011 was my okay.
Yes, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner and our lovely guest, Amber Bagels. Make sure you grab a drink and join the chat and put your questions down below for Amber. She will have the opportunity to answer those later on live in the show. So I just want to say kudos to you for, being out, or excuse me, having the courage to get out of that situation, as fearful as it may be. What words of advice would you give to someone who may be in a toxic situation right now? Maybe they don't recognize the signs, or maybe they don't have the courage to ask for help to get them out of that situation.
Well, first and foremost, a quote that I literally live by till this day, and I can honestly say, my husband is my soulmate. And the reason I say because I started saying no man is worth your tears, and the one that is, he's not gonna make you cry. And when I say my husband has never like made me cry for anything other than like pure love, support, like emotional like ties together, but he's never done anything to like make me cry, to make me feel lesser like than a human. Like he always supports me, he encourages me. So I think for women, when you learn how special and how valued you really are, and you realize, no, like I am worth way more than this. Like you make me cry every day. Like I'm sitting here boo-hooing over somebody who, what can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? Like when you and you realize like my life is way too precious. Like I was like, imagine if I hadn't left, where would I have been? Like where would I have ended up? And so I really thank God. And I also say, trust in the Lord, like for real. With everything that I do, I always go back to God, like for real, because Spirit has led me farther than I could ever have gone with my own human intellect. So I say, go with God, like take Spirit, whatever your higher power, whatever your belief system is, take that with you and get clarity. Because sometimes when you're in those relationships like that, it's chaotic. It's chaos, and unfortunately, we're not supposed to be in chaos. Like we're not supposed to live a life in torment and fear. Like, do you not know who you are? Like you're amazing. So those are definitely two of the main things that I would tell anybody.
Yes, yes, yes. And that can be a big factor, just having that self-worth, to know that you are worthy, you are amazing, you do deserve a healthy and loving relationship. And I think for a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't necessarily have that example of what a true healthy relationship looks like. And so to them, maybe getting hit in the eye means that, oh, they love me. Or, somebody calling you out your name and controlling you. Oh, that means that they love me, because that's the example that they've had from their parents and their caregivers and everybody around them. And so I think it's important to just point out to everyone that is listening and watching that is not a healthy situation. Because if you are more sad and having tears and crying, and you're doing more fighting and you're having all the bad days, That's not the good thing. That's not the thing that you want to be in, and that's not where God desires you to be in. And it's hard for you to truly walk in your purpose when you're living in that constant state of just struggle and torment and toxicity. And so I'm so grateful that you were able to get out, and I pray that everyone tuning in, if you find yourself in a situation that is full of toxicity, that you are able to get out as well.
Yes, definitely. That's my main prayer for you too. If you're watching, like for real, get help. Send a Morse code. You can even call. You can even call your local 911. Hey, I need to order a pizza with extra pepperoni on it. I'm so sick, and they will dispatch someone to your location. So,
did y'all hear that? Say that again for the folks in the balcony.
no, seriously, if you call your 911 dispatch, if someone is, and I mean, I see it a lot because, of course, I live in like an area where it's heavily populated with like military men and things like that. And so I've talked to women, and I've even had to tell them, like, if you are fearing for your life and you don't know how to pick up the phone and say, hey, my baby dad or my husband or my boyfriend, or even if it's a woman and you're in a woman relationship with a woman, whatever, vice versa, tell the police, call the dispatch line, 911 dispatch, say, hey, I just need to order an extra large pizza with pepperonis on top. And I mean, they will dispatch someone to your location. And normally the dispatch knows, okay, there's something going on. This lady needs help and she's in distress. And so they'll dispatch someone to come to your home. So just don't wait until it's too late though. And that's the real part right there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because unfortunately, we never know whenever it's going to be that too far moment that you can't pull yourself back from. And so don't ignore the red flags.
Right.
Don't ignore the red flags. They are usually there. This is something that I noticed with whenever I'm having this discussion with people, is that oftentimes when we're in a toxic situation, we like to think of the good and the bad. And we say, oh, well, we had all these good moments. And here's the thing, we think that the good and the bad are equally weighted. And so you might have a lot of good days, but your one good day might equal 5 bad days, or that one bad thing that he did. Even though you had 100 good days, that one bad thing is equal to 500 bad days. And so they're not equally weighted. And so it's important to remember that, because a lot of times we'll use the good moments to justify staying, or to justify like it'll get better whenever that one time he beat you black and blue, or she beat you black and blue, because men get abused as well. That far outweighs all the times that they bought you a gift or something like that. And so we have to remember those things, and just really know that we are worthy of true, healthy love from everyone around us, not just our significant others. So thank you for being willing to share that part of your life. And before we hop into our next topic of discussion, I just want to welcome all of you that are just tuning in to the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. That's me. And our lovely guest, Miss Amber Edwards. She is Bagels, a CEO of Body and Everything, helping you with body positive images and having healthy habits to sustain your mental and spiritual and emotional well-being. And so if you're just tuning in, again, make sure you comment, love, share this video, okay? And make sure you sign up for Happy Hour updates. You see it scrolling across the bottom of your screen. For my audio listeners, that link is bit.ly/happy updates. And so before we get back into the discussion, I see a lot of comments over here. Chaz says, yes, you are beautiful, for you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Renette says, great info, Amber. Yes, keep tuning in, keep commenting, post your questions down below. And before we hop back into the discussion, I think that it's a great time for us to play a little game, okay? And this is a game that I like to call...
What's in your cup?
Yes! tuned into the show, this is the part of the show where we take those drinks we've been grabbing all night and we talk about them a little bit. You might find yourself a new drink to sip on, okay? So our guest is going to share what she's sipping on, and she's going to give her cup some cup cam. I'm going to share what I'm sipping on, and whatever you're drinking, wherever you're tuned in from, drop it in the comments below, okay? And if unfortunately you forgot to get your drink, it's all right. Just put what you wish you had in your cup right now, all right? So, Miss Amber, what's in your cup?
I am being very basic today. I am black tea, and it's no sweetener or anything in it. I've fallen in love with tea. I don't know when it happened, but I've been drinking a lot of tea lately. And of course, my handy dandy Starbucks, but it's literally a venti black iced tea.
Okay. Giving some Starbucks promo right there. Starbucks, you hear that? Drop her a check for that moment. Over here, before I share my drink, so I need to connect you with Herbal Trap. Yes, they have this really yummy tea, and it's so creamy. It's rich and creamy, and that's the best way I can explain it. But it's Black owned, and it's super delicious. I'm going to send you the link. And don't worry, listeners. Somebody remind me. I'll put the link in the comments as well. But meanwhile, I'm drinking party over here. Before I share what it is, does anyone want to take a guess? For my audio listeners, it's pink. It's a pink wine cooler. It starts with a smur and ends in a noff. Rhymes with shirk off. So that is what I'm drinking, and I love me some lemonade, okay? So I decided to have a party in my cup tonight, or bottle rather, and I'm having Smirnoff Ice pink lemonade. Because I'm getting ready to go on some more trips here, and so I'm getting prepped.
I'm getting ready. I got you.
Yes, over here in the comments, let's see. Wanda is drinking. Mom's drinking sparkling water. Oh, is that your mom?
That's my mom.
Hey, Mom. Nice to meet you, Mom. She is drinking sparkling water, so she's keeping it healthy. Chaz is drinking strawberry limeade with mint. Ooh, that sounds fancy and delicious. Renette is also drinking water. Okay. We got a lot of healthy drinkers tonight, and that's all right because it's hashtag no judgment zone. Whether you want to be healthy or whether you want to party in your cup, we accept it all. Wanda Smirnoff pink. Yep. That's what I got in my bottle over here.
First lady, Wanda, don't you get no ideas, girl.
I mean, Jesus turned that water to wine, so just saying. Well, listen, if you are listening, go ahead and put what you're drinking on in the comments. Meanwhile, let's get back to this discussion. So, I know that you mentioned you had gained a lot of weight, you were feeling isolated and that depression. And I know that you're all about, those body positive images and just having that all around holistic, healthy habits. And so taking it back, at what point were you like, all right, some things have got to change as far as I'm at this weight. It's not where I want to be. What was it that you realized was keeping you from being at your goal weight? Or we'll start there, and then I have a follow-up question as well.
Well, I've always been healthy for my size. So I've always been very, very healthy. I didn't have like any comorbidities like diabetes or asthma, I've always been just really healthy. But when I had my daughter, I had to be rushed in for an emergency C-section because of my weight. And that was scary. Like I just remember a whole lot of doctors and a whole lot of nurses in here, and my daughter's fetal heart rate drop. And so that was a moment that I probably would never forget. I had never had like a major surgery, and of course, when you have a C-section, you're awake. Like feel it, you hear them, like, and I was like, I was terrified. And I sat in the hospital a few days after when I was in postpartum recovery. And I was like, looking at the scar, the incision, and I was like trying to lift it. I literally had one of my best friends at the time, like lifting up my stomach so I could see it, and just seeing my body. I just was like, I'm not happy with where I am. And that was it. Like, I just needed to make a change. So I said, once my baby is big enough and I don't have to, and I'm not breastfeeding, I'm going to start working out, and I'm gonna hit it until I can't hit it no more. And I literally did just that. I think it was March. My baby was born in August of 2014. And by March, I was at the track. I was walking. I was doing whatever I could. I invested in some weight loss pills and teas. I was invested. I was like, I'm getting this weight off. And then after I dropped that first 10 pounds, I was like, oh, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. And I just kept going. And I didn't want to stop. I was like, I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah. And then it just started, like, that motivation to do it and just go for it. It just started increasing. And I was at the gym. I just became a gym rat.
So in starting your weight loss journey, I know that there are a lot of different things that people can do. There's the weight loss surgery, there's the pills, there's the dieting, all the fasting. What else is there? There's the teas, all of those things. So did you have moments where you were trying all of the things and you were like, all right, this isn't working, I just need to do this? Share with us a little bit of that journey.
Oh God, yes. I had weight loss surgery. Like, I went and I told him, I said, just take my whole stomach if you need to. I'm good. Like, I don't need it no more. And I remember at the time he laughed. He thought it was funny. And I had the surgery. And 2 months after I had the surgery, the weight loss place that I went through closed down. And they didn't tell us nothing. I was just like stuck. And I was like, okay, so where do I do my follow-ups? Nothing. So of course, the weight loss surgery was a bust because I ended up gaining back more than half of that weight. And I think it wasn't until after my wedding in 2019 that I really kicked it back into high gear. And I was like, hold up. I said, I can do this. I did it before without surgery. So before the surgery even happened, I had lost a significant amount of weight on my own. And I was like, I'm not finna deny myself this opportunity. So since 2019, December 2019, I have been learning how to properly eat. I have been working out. I've been finding things that I love, things that I enjoy. And even my own kid, my 6-year-old, she likes salmon now, things like that. And that's encouragement for me. Like, that's motivation to keep going.
Yes. And when you are exposed to those things, then it just becomes a habit, like when kids are picky, or if they only eat junk versus healthy stuff, it's like they eat what you expose them to. So the fact that you're exposing her at a young age to healthier eating habits, even if she like steers away from that, like that's essentially going to be ingrained in her. And so she'll have those as she grows older. So kudos there. And you mentioned about gaining all the weight back after the surgery. I know quite a bit of people that have gone through the weight loss surgery, and a lot of people unfortunately think that that's the easy way out. And knowing their journeys and their behind the scenes, I know that that's not necessarily the case. So apart from you gaining the weight back, how did you come to terms as far as, did you have people that were like, you shouldn't be getting the weight loss surgery, or that's not going to work, or that's the easy way out? Did you have any negativity around your decision to initially have the weight loss surgery?
Oh, of course. There was a lot of negative feedback. There was a lot of people who told me I was too young, that my reasoning, and I agree now, looking back on it, I had some vain reasons for wanting to have the weight loss surgery. I wanted to just have a quick fix, and not really have to deal with the, deal with the eating right, because everybody knows when you have a weight loss surgery, it shrinks the size of your stomach. So for me, that was easy. It's like, oh, I can just weight loss surgery and boom, I'm gonna be skinny. And I didn't even reach my goal, like 150 pounds. Like, that That's how serious it was. And I digressed. Like I gained it back.
Yeah, and I think that is the issue with a lot of the diet fads and a lot of just everything in general is that so many people want um, the quick fix, just like you said, they want the quick fix to help with their weight or to help with their money issues or to help change the habits that they have built over who knows how many years or decades. And the quick fix is not going to get you to your end goal. And so I think that's very important to point out. It goes back to the tortoise and the hare, how the hare, he was the fastest and everybody just thought that the hare was going to win. But it's that slow and steady consistency that the tortoise had that made the tortoise win the race. And it's so funny because we have to do that in our lives as well. We have to have those slow, consistent, everyday habits that ultimately get us to our goal, whatever it is, whether that's weight loss or, getting out of debt, saving money, starting our businesses, reaching for your goals in general. It's those small, little, everyday habits that add up to the big things. And so you also mentioned that, you weren't ready to really deal with everything else that came on that weight loss journey. And that's something else to point out as well, because it is emotional, it is physical, it is mental, but all of those pieces, you have to be ready to put in the work. Otherwise, just like you said, you gain the weight right back and it was all for nothing. So at what point, well, you already shared that, you got to the point where you're like, I just can't anymore. And so what would you say is the advice for people that just want the quick fix? What advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, first of all, it's not easy. Let me just say that first. It's not easy. You are going to have to learn how to properly feed your body. I mean, now, of course, as a 31-year-old looking back at my 25-year-old self, I'm like, you probably should have waited to do something of that magnitude. And so for me, I would tell anybody, make sure that you are sure, without a shadow of doubt in your mind, that this decision to have this surgery is truly what you need. And I mean, that goes beyond, they make you test. So they make you do mental tests. They make you do a psych evaluation to see if you are, mentally fit. And I mean, when I say I BS that test, I was like, oh yes, I love people. I'm a great human. I did whatever I needed to do to get that surgery. I mean, I told the people, I walked in and I was just like, whatever it takes, I'll be whoever y'all need me to be. But that was on me because I was young. I was naive. I didn't know that the doctor, was doing some other stuff, and I didn't know that the company in itself, so research. If it's something you really want to do and you feel like, man, I just can't lose this by myself, research. Find someone that, can really, really help you after, because having the surgery, getting to the surgery, that wasn't the hard part for me. It was the after, learning how to eat right, and not overeating, portion control. And those are all things that, if we really think about it, these are habits that we build in our mind, right? And so if you really, really thinking about it and you really understand it, over our lifetime, we have trained ourselves to eat carbs. We've never, me personally, my mom will probably tell you, she cooks like she cooking for an army. She's here. She can say it. And so, and yes, losing the weight is hard, because you don't know proper portion control. And so now that I'm at the other side of it, where I regained, they did testing on my stomach, where I had the surgery, and the doctor was like, oh, you have a regular stomach. It's regular. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe the doctor didn't really do it last time because, he was in that mess. He had all that, And so the doctor said, no, it was something done to it, but you did something else to it and made it, And I just remember feeling so defeated. I felt defeated, like, oh man, how you mess up the weight loss surgery? You can't get right. And I mean, after that point though, I was like, okay, so now sis, you doing all of this on your own. Ain't no surgery to help you. Like, now everything that I lose is discipline. It's snacking on stuff like almonds, when I really want a candy apple, or it's really discipline, and it's really learning that structure. And like, my husband laughs and makes fun of me all the time, because every night, it doesn't matter what night it is, I'm like, babe, I could really do some candy right now. And he was like, oh, okay, drink some water. And I'm like, okay, yes sir, I'm gonna drink some water. So I mean, when you have a support system, it's possible. When you really want it, it's possible. So either way, I'm not saying don't. If you're thinking about having a surgery, do what you believe is best for you. Mm-hmm. That's first things first. But try for yourself. Try to make healthier choices. Try to, eliminate, sugars and processed stuff. Like, try to cook more during the week. Summertime, we know that's hard, but there's so many fresh vegetables that you can cut up. Like, I'm the queen of pasta salad. So I'll boil some noodles, some of the tricolor noodles. They have protein noodles, and I'll throw some cucumbers, some feta. I just throw it all in there and mix it up, and boom, it's a refreshing summer salad. But I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to put nothing in. So it's a lot of different ways that you can definitely overcome this weight loss, this weight battle, man. It's a lot of ways.
Yes. And I think it's very important to point out that you said having that discipline to eat better and be physical, and, you have to want it for yourself, because for those of you that do choose weight loss surgery, or you're interested in it, it's important that those are the same habits you need after the surgery to maintain the weight loss that you had the surgery for. So it's better that you get into those habits now, even before you go into things like the surgery and things like that, because either way, you're going to have to build those habits to maintain your weight, and just to keep the weight off, to keep losing it, whatever it is that your goal that you're working for. So thank you for sharing those tips. Thank you. Keep your comments coming. If you are just tuning in, make sure that you sign up for happy hour updates at bit.ly/happy updates. That's bit.ly/happy updates. And make sure you comment, love, share this video out. Tonight's episode is sponsored by Love and Science Logistics, the premier car and cargo hauling service company out of the Southeast. And listen, I see some questions over here, so I think that it's a great time to play another little game.
30-second hot shot. Answer the question in 30 seconds or less, or take your shot.
Yes. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
So, if you are new to the show, this is the part where your questions are answered live right now. But there's a trick. So, our lovely guest, Miss Amber, has only 30 seconds to answer your question. And guess what happens if she misses the buzzer? Shot, everybody. And listen, it doesn't have to be a shot of alcohol, okay? Hashtag no peer pressure over here. Whatever you're drinking in your cup, just knock it back real fast should she miss the buzzer. But if she gets it within 30 seconds, then you can chill. Keep it easy peasy, all right? So whether you're drinking water, you're drinking whiskey, or wine, it doesn't matter. You're going to take a shot if she misses the buzzer. So let me get back to these questions. I know there were some over here. Let me pull up my timer. Put this on 30 seconds. All right, so here we go. The first question comes from Renee, and she says, would you say that if you can get the first 10 pounds off, it's easier to lose weight? I lost about 8 pounds and back up. I lost it before, but I had thyroids removed, so now it seems harder. Any suggestions?
Well, for that, I would definitely recommend, since you did have your thyroid removed, that you follow up with your doctor. Your care provider should be able to lay out the foods that you can, eat and enjoy to help you sustain the weight loss, because there are a lot of different medical, issues that could be happening behind the scene, inflammation, things like that, especially if you had issues with your thyroid. So I would also recommend that you reach out to a nutritionist as well, because they can, make you an actual plan of what you can eat and what will work for you and your body type, so that you can be successful with your weight loss.
You missed the buzzer. Everybody take a shot.
Oh.
Take a shot of your tea. Take a shot of your water. Take a shot of your Pepsi. I saw somebody had Pepsi. Everybody take a shot. Take a shot. She missed the buzzer. And so this next question was submitted, and it says, what do you find is the biggest mistake that people make when trying to lose weight? Go.
Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes is following all of the fad diets that are out right now, trying to follow like the keto, and those are not built for sustainability. Those are diets that, will help you lose maybe 50, 60 pounds in the first 6 months, but that's not sustainable. So finding foods that you enjoy eating and learning portion control is something that would definitely benefit versus, eating it all, trying to do all these different diets. That's the biggest mistake people make.
Oh, you got it just in time. Just in time. Everybody's safe. Everybody's safe. Everybody is safe on that time. So thanks for playing our game. Again, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the Happy Hour Show with our lovely guest, Amber Edwards. She is Bagels, CEO of Bay, which is Body and Everything LLC. Make sure that you are following her on Instagram at IM_Bay, BAE goals, GOALS. All right. So take a screenshot. You just heard me spell it out. If you missed it, go back and hit the rewind or the replay button at the end of the show. But make sure that you continue to comment, love, and share this video out, because we've already dropped some gems. And I know that as we're wrapping it up, there's going to be some more dropped as well. So let's continue this discussion over here. Look, Labani says yes. We're going to assume that she was excited that she didn't have to take a shot on that last one.
That's actually my aunt, and she's a registered nurse. So, yeah, she's definitely familiar. Hey, Letha.
Hey. Thanks for tuning in. So I know that there's one other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on that you had mentioned about. You had a point where you were thinking and considering suicide. So tell us a little bit about that moment of your life and what pulled you out of that darkness.
Oh my goodness, yes. So last summer, I attempted to take my own life. I did. I was in such a dark place. I was in a dark space. A lot of people who follow my journey, they know I lost one of my best friends, Nicole, to aggressive form of cancer, and that happened in March. So she passed away on March the 8th, and we literally had her funeral and found out that my job, everything was shut down literally the next Monday when I returned to work. And so I honestly did not have time to like bounce back. I mean, I think I made it to work and got like all of the condolence cards and things like that. But after that, I didn't see any faces. We didn't know if we can go outside. Like, we didn't know anything. And so I started becoming very depressed. I'm just be honest. There was days that I would just sit in my bed with my head under the cover, and my husband and of course my daughter and, friends, different ones came around. And it seemed like every time that I would get a little bit of motivation to like do better and feel better and, really check my mental, I would just crash, like something would happen. And so I started trying to work out, because we all know they say working out releases endorphins, and of course I was in counseling. I was in counseling like 4 times a week at the time. So I was getting help. It wasn't helping. Nothing was working. And so I was like, well, I'm going to just start working out. Girl, I started working out on the phone, FaceTime with my trainer at the time. And like the second week, I tore my meniscus. So March, I lost my best friend and the world shut down. Here comes May. I'm about to have my 30th birthday. You know, everybody has big plans for their 30th. Like, come on now. I was devastated. I mean, they told me, oh, well, you're going to have to stay in the house for, I think it was 7 or 8 days before the surgery. Because you remember at the time, they weren't even doing surgeries. Like, you had to have a serious reasoning for having your surgery. And they cleared me for surgery literally because of how severe the tear was of my meniscus. And so, of course, that was depressing. That was hard. I was like, I told my husband, they gave me the COVID test, you know, of course, it came back negative, and they were like, okay, well, you're just going to stay in the house. And I mean, I was devastated. You know, I didn't get to really go anywhere. Mother's Day was at home. And then on the 11th, I had my knee surgery. And I told everybody, I said, yeah, I'm okay. You know, I'm feeling a lot better. But deep inside, I was miserable. I was sad. I was like, I don't know when this is going to end. When will I be able to walk on this knee? You know, I'm trying to lose this weight. And at the time, I had finally gotten down, I think, to 240. Because remember, I regained like more than half my weight back. So I had been working really hard. But now my knee, you know, it's like, what do you do? Like, how does this stuff keep happening, like, to me? And of course, I just fell into a dark hole of pity. I allowed I allowed the depression and stuff to consume me. And I think there was a moment where I had a little spark of hope because I was casted for the TV show, The Biggest Loser. And I was so excited. I was like, okay, like God loves me again. Like he's not mad at me, you know, all these different crazy thoughts. And I remember we went through like the interview process and we were going through everything. And after it was all done, I was not okay. I was not okay. I was watching videos of myself as they were edited, and I was just so disgusted with what I saw. I said, oh my God, like, how did I get here? Like, again, like I said, I wasn't coming back here, and now I'm here again. And, you know, I know a lot of people will probably say, like, oh, yeah, well, you don't have to go to church every Sunday, or you don't have to, you know. And for me, church, you know, being a part of, you know, my community, my spiritual support community is very important. That's heavy for me. And so for us to have been during this pandemic, virtual, it doesn't work for everybody. I went to online graduate school. It's not fun. It's hard. So just imagine me with my attention span being like my 6-year-olds trying to sit in the service online. It wasn't working. And so I just remember the day I was sitting on my patio and I took one pill and then one pill turned to two. And I mean, I just started taking pills. And then of course, you know, when it starts happening, you're like, oh shoot, I went too far. Like, and I got scared. And of course the hospital, you know, all of it just terrified me. And I don't know if you're a believer, sis. I'm gonna just say, I know we've talked about it before, I know. But when I tell you, I experienced God on another level at that point in my life. Like he really showed up, like for real. And I just remember like it was kind of like an out of body experience, like because I had to trust him. I had to really, really, really trust him. I had to say, you know what, God, like right now I'm hurting. Right now I'm depressed. I'm sad. I mean, I was so embarrassed by my own actions that I didn't want to tell nobody. Like I didn't tell nobody. My sister had stayed with us like the whole month of June. And I mean, she left in July and went home to St. Louis, Missouri. I didn't say nothing to her. She had no idea. She had no idea. And I mean, that's the thing with depression and with those suicidal, you know, tendencies and thoughts. People don't understand. Like you could be sitting across from somebody who seems perfectly normal. They seem like they have their mind on straight. They're having a conversation with you, but you don't know how what you say could impact them because they may go home and blow their brains out. And that's just me being real, you know? And so just being in that low place and being down in that valley, God really was able to show me, like, I am merciful. Like, I got you, but I need you to trust that I can do this for you. And I surrendered, like, my whole will, everything. I was like, okay, God, like, I really need you, Spirit, to lead me. Because I don't want to die. Like, I don't want to kill myself. But I felt like I was at my lowest space. So I thought, this is what's gonna have to happen. Like my family will be okay. They'll be better off without me. You know what I mean? Like, oh, all of those negative thoughts. And so I went through a treatment program, of course, and I was able to get a lot of help. I was able to get a lot of healing. The entire month of August, I just kind of spent that time just, with my husband, just really trying to grow, more and just read my word, more read devotionals. And I think that that was really what pulled me through that season because by September, I had lost like 20 more pounds. I was so happy. I was like, oh, okay, it's working. Like, it's working. And so, like, I hate to sound like gloom, but I always tell my followers, like, it does not matter what you go through. It does not matter what you experience in your life. Like, it's all for a greater purpose. And I was so embarrassed to even tell my following. I have like over 130 whatever thousand subscribers, and I was devastated like by my actions. I had so much guilt inside of me because I literally did not want to be on the earth. I did not want to walk. And I don't know if anybody else has been there before, but I mean, literally, like not even want to get out your bed, not even want to get up, and just feeling like a fail. Like I failed. Like I am not even where I need to be at in my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like just having all of those feelings. But we have to understand that we have power. We have so much power in our mouth. Like the power of life and death is in your own mouth. So if you start speaking life over your situation, like I thought, and trust my husband is my rock. I would say that my husband has been here through thick and thin, literally. In 2012, when I had to get that real job, that's my best friend. No, for real, he was my best friend then. And I mean, even when I got pregnant, out of wedlock or whatever you want to call it, like for real, like I literally lost it. Like had a baby. My husband will tell you he came down from San Antonio, girl. And I asked him the day that I found out that I was pregnant to be my baby's godfather. Now you tell me that ain't no setup, because I had no idea that I was gonna end up married to the man. And so like just the things that we went through just in our first year of marriage, like that was like, okay, all right. We made it through these humps. And then of course this past May, I think that everyone was like scared, nervous, watching, like, oh shoot, she gonna lose it because of the fact I lost my oldest brother. He passed away. And I mean, when I tell you, like, the phone call itself, I never expected to go through anything like that. Like, I never expected to lose a sibling. It's 8 of us. Like, come on now. And for us, like, I'm not gonna say we're like the very close, like the Brady bunch, but my brothers and sisters are my world, and they know I cook for them. Like, if they call me, if they need anything, I have 32 nieces and nephews. Like, I love my people. And so when I found out, the way that my brother had passed and, going through that in May, and then it was on Mother's Day, God, come on. But the thing is that God's strength is made perfect in your weakest moment. And so what happened was God began to deal with me on another level. He was like, okay, because it was like a test kind of, in a sense, it was like, okay, I want to see how you go through this. I want to see how you go through this valley. I want to see if you really live in what you've been talking about all this time, this last little 7-8 months that, you done came through the treatment programs and the recovery. Let's see where you at. And I mean, I feel like I passed with flying colors, right, G? Okay. like really, of course I have my days, and my husband even say, like, I have days when I cry. I just told Mama Gretchen the other day, like, I was really sad. I had a hard moment, but learning to vocalize it and not feeling like, oh, I gotta be so tough. Like that was the issue when I lost my best friend. I thought, oh, I'm good. But I had to remind myself, like, boo, you was helping her at the hospital. You was at the house. Like, you was doing so much. And of course that was going to affect you in a deeper way. And so losing my brother, who I had just talked to on my birthday the week before, I'm like, like, no. Devil, you're not finna have my mind. And so once I started speaking life to my situation and speaking life to my own self, it was like, this it? This all I had to do last year? Okay. So what you tried to do was you tried to get me all thrown off track so that I would take my own life, so that I would not make it to this point. Oh no. And that means that's just spurred my motivation to keep on preaching and keep on teaching and telling people, like, you can make it through whatever situation. It does not matter how hard it is. It does not matter what it feels like, what it looks like. I'm telling you, I done been down bad, homeless, pregnant, sleeping in my car. And if you hear my voice, just know my baby is 6, she is healthy, and we are well, because God will restore. And even though some of the situations I've gone through in my little life, I did it to myself. We've been there. We've been there. I take ownership for my issues.
Hashtag no judgment zone.
Okay. But that's, at the end of the day, I always go back to God's word. Like, he just gives me such a peace, and he just gives me such a joy now. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, when stuff comes now, situations come, like, we didn't even pay our rent in July. I was like, babe, we can't pay our rent, because I'm not working right now. Let's just be honest. I'm not working. Like, we was like, well, and God will make a way. Like, I told him, I don't even stress no more. I called my daddy. I say, Daddy, I just got a check for $9,000 in the mail. Rent paid up. So now it's paid up, because you have to learn, man, control your controllables. Control the things that you can control. If it's out of your control, stop stressing over it. Take your hands off of it and keep going. And so now I'm just in a place where I'm peaceful. I'm like, you mad at me? Oh, baby, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you upset. I love you, but my peace is way more important. So.
Yes, my peace is way more important. If you're just tuning in, you missed all the goodness, okay? I'm so sorry you came at the end of the hour for the happy hour. But luckily for you, you can always go back and watch the replay, okay?
All day.
Still comment. Yes, replay all day. Still comment, still love, still share, and watch the replay as much as you need, because I can guarantee you every time you replay it back, you'll catch something that you didn't catch the first time. So replay all day. All right. Miss Amber, I am so glad that I made sure I took the time to ask you about that, because that's the thing about the happy hour show. It's only an hour, and they say, folks, our attention spans are so slow. But whenever you're delivering all this goodness on the happy hour show, because my guests are amazing, they stick around for the hour, and we wish it was longer than an hour. But I am glad that we did get that nugget for that moment of your life, because it is important. And for my audio listeners, I did put on the screen the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 24 hours a day. So if at all you feel like you are getting into a dark space where you may be at that point where you're considering taking your life, please make sure that you reach out. And if you don't have a person of support to reach out to, then please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800 273-8255. Again, that is 800-273-8255. And they do accept English and Spanish. And I feel like if you call them and you need a different language, they can probably help you out some kind of way. But just make sure you reach out, 800-273-8255. So as we wrap up here, do you have any final words of advice or anything that you want to share with the viewers and listeners?
Yes, good, better, best. Never let it rest until you're good. It's better than rest. So that my pastor Elmer Kirksey Sr. used to say it all the time. And as an adult, I live by it. Rest in peace. But I live by that. Like, I am striving to be the best version of myself possible. I don't care if I grew up in the hood. I don't care if I was, I dealt with trauma. Like, I don't care. I'm going to keep working at it. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not striving for perfection, but I am striving to be my best self. And so whatever it takes, work on being your best self at the end of the day.
Yes. And my final question for you that I have to ask all of my happy hour guests, because I am all about creating your first class life. What does that mean for my newbies, you may ask? Well, your first class life is all about being intentional about the quality of life you're creating for yourself. It doesn't find you, you don't pay for it, you create it no matter your background, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are. We all have the ability to create our first class life. That means that we're intentional about the happiness we create, we're intentional about showing up boldly, authentically as who we are, flaws and all. That means we accept every part of us. We're intentional about finding and walking in our purpose, our God given purpose, and creating that living legacy so that we can have a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. We're intentional about shedding away those masks of fear, doubt, rejection, all of those things that hold us back from who we're truly meant to be. And so, my question for you is, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life?
Oh my goodness. Every morning, like every day when I wake up, like every day, I literally get up and I sit on my bed, on the side of my bed, and I just say, thank you, God. Like, just for real, like my toes, like the fact that some people wake up in the morning time and they don't have no feeling in their toes. They wake up and they don't have feeling in their body. And so I started doing something. When I wake up, I put my feet on the ground and I just feel the floor under my feet. And my toes already like doing this little thing because I got like Flintstone feet. But no, seriously, this is the way that I start my day I start my day by creating my space. I start my day by creating my atmosphere. If you really, really, really desire to be joyful, if you desire happiness, if you want more joy in your life, you have to find the good. You have to find the joy in things. You know, you can't wake up pessimistic. You can't wake up like, another day. You know, you got to wake up with that joy in your heart. Like, man, God, thank you for waking me up. Like, you know what? Like, man, thank you, God. Like, I woke up the other night and I was crying in my sleep. My husband told me, I didn't know. I guess I was having a bad dream. And so I'm an empath. So I feel everything. I'm a feeler. And so my husband was like, yeah, you know, and I got up and I took a walk or whatever. And I was kind of disgruntled. And I sat back down. I said, nope. Because you know that energy that you wake up with in the morning time, that might be the same energy that follows you through the day. And a lot of people don't understand literally taking out just a few moments before you start your day. If you don't pray, like meditate, devotion, just something before, because our minds are always going. So you have to wake up and be intentional, and you have to cease the thoughts. Like, you have to stop them. Even when they're about to be negative and you know it's about to be negative, you have to say, and think. I think joy, so I am joy. I think happiness, so I am happiness. I think peace, so I'm going to be peaceful. You know, I want to walk peacefully with all men. And so I think that that is just the best way that I create my happiness. And my family is the same way. My daughter knows when she gets up in the morning, good morning, mommy. You know, good morning. She say, good morning, Jesus. Like, because, I mean, you got to feed your babies too. Like, you got to teach them. And so my daughter is a happy kid. Like, she talks too much, but she's super happy. My husband, he's not a morning person, but he will do his devotion in the morning. He will do it. He will get up and do his devotion. And it really does. It sets the tone in my home. So.
Yes, I love it. No, it's all right. We love it. I love it. They love it. So if you just tuned in, again, you missed it. Make sure you comment, love, share, and go back and watch the replay of this episode of the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. That's me. And our lovely guest, Miss Amber Edwards, CEO of Body and Everything LLC, aka Bagels. Okay. So make sure that you follow her on Instagram at IAM_Bagels. That's IAM_BAEGOALS. All right. And again, if you want to stay updated on all things Happy Hour, then make sure that you sign up for the VIP list, because sometimes my guests like to give some Happy Hour specials, but only if you're VIP. So bit.ly/happy updates is where you can stay tuned. Again, that's bit.ly patreon.com/happy updates. And we are here every single Tuesday for season 3 at 9 p.m. Eastern and some Thursday. So next week, make sure you tune in on both Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll be broadcasting live from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. And just tune in, all right? Because we're going to have more goodness. And with that said, I pray you many blessings and much abundance. Bye.